It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Welcome to episode number 87 of the Carson Show podcast. Today's show, not necessarily political. I've got a lot of audio to get to, a lot of great stories. If you'd like to check me out online, robcarsonshow.com, Facebook, Rob Carson Show, and on Twitter at Rob Carson. Also on iTunes, if you want to download the podcast, just go to the Rob Carson Show on iTunes. All right? A lot of stuff to remember, I know. And, of course, we do have the politically incorrect swag line, which is available at teepublic.com. And just look for conservatees, Tees, okay. And our sponsor, of course, is Grass Monsters KC. Grass Monsters KC. They sell commercial mowers. They sell residential mowers. They are all riders. They are all American-made. They are all built like a brick excrement house. They are fantastic. Andrew Cook bought this business a couple years ago, and business is booming because of you guys. Whether you're looking for something for your house or your churchyard or your commercial mowing business, Dixie Chopper made in Indiana. The new Blackhawk is just selling out. They can't get him in there. This is a light commercial mower. It's spectacular. They've got the Classic, which is fantastic. The Silver Eagle I have in my garage. It's a beautiful mower. It's a commercial mower. And the Excalibur, the Z, which is the residential mower, is incredible. Blackhawk also. These, or I should say Hustlers. These are incredible mowers. They've got a variety of different ones. The Raptor, which is a flip-up blade system that you can clean. 4-year, 400-hour warranty on the whole thing. You've got a 25-horsepower engine. You've got 48 and 54-inch blade platforms. You've got the Fast Track, the X1. Oh, my goodness. The Super Z. You got to go see them, okay? Just go to grassmonsterskc.com. Grassmonsterskc.com. They're on Raytown Road in Raytown, and just tell them that you heard it on the Rob Carson Show podcast. Okay, let's get started. With all of the madness, all of the interesting stuff in the news today, and this is kind of, I won't say it's the top of the news today, because there are a lot of things in that I just recorded in episode number 86. That is, they're all about what's going on politically and whatnot. I thought just because I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to get to that I think is kind of fun. This not so fun. Many students and administrators of Baylor University fiercely denouncing a campus fraternity party for throwing a Mexican-themed party over the weekend, which featured sombreros and Mexican-related attire. That is cultural appropriation, by the way. That is cultural appropriation, folks. Baylor's Kappa Sigma chapter held the party on Saturday night. The newspaper flatly and matter-of-factly describes the party as racist. Images of the party show students having a good time while some wearing sombreros, serapes, and other clothing related to the Mexican culture. Now, unverified sources say that some attendees dressed up like construction workers and painted their faces brown. A Baylor University spokesman told the Tribune-Herald that school officials have no experience beyond student claims showing anyone actually showed up in brownface. They didn't. They didn't. Unidentified students also alleged that party guests shouted, "Build that wall." Again, bullcrap. Bullcrap, hate crime, made up. Hate does not exist on liberal campuses in this country. It's not growing anywhere. Baylor students who opposed the Mexican-themed party quickly sprang into action by scheduling a protest for Monday afternoon at the center of the campus. 200 people showed up. One read, "My culture is not your costume." A second read, "Somos unidos." We are united. The students who organized the protest presented Baylor administration with, now they're calling these asks. They used to be demands. The asks include subjecting Baylor students to compulsory diversity training and the creation of a multicultural advisory group within the student government. Here's an idea. Get your ass to class. Get your ass to class. If you are taking part in a protest and missing your class, then you should be booted. Other asks include punishment for Kappa Sigma and apologies from the fraternity, as well as Baylor as an institution. This is unreal. A lot of you may not understand what we're feeling. Damian Moncada, president of the Baylor's Hispanic Student Association, told the Tribune-Herald, "You may think that you have celebrated our culture, but I ask you that if you want to celebrate our culture, you would have invited us to the party. Well, you're not a member." Natasha Nkima, Baylor student who has claimed people on Baylor campus physically assaulted her, called her racist names when Trump was elected. Again, a lie, a fake hate crime. I'm just tired. I don't want this anymore. I don't want us to keep walking every time something like this happens. Baylor Vice President for Student Life, Kevin Jackson, described the sombrero-filled hat fiesta as a deeply concerning. You know, it's not. It's not. It's a freaking Cinco de Mayo party, all right? And you know what? The next time I see a Mexican guy wearing a cowboy hat, I will scream cultural appropriation. By the way, it costs about $60,000 to go to school there. Last year at Bowdoin College in Maine, a tequila-themed party where students were photographed wearing brightly colored miniature sombreros about the size of cereal bowls on their heads. And it was an act of cultural appropriation. You know what? Put your big girl panties on. If you did a German party, you did a, whatever party, it wouldn't be cultural appropriation. If you did, what about St. Patrick's Day? What about St. Patrick's Day? That's cultural appropriation. You put on green. You celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Cultural appropriation. You'll never hear that, though. Student governments say that Mexican students feel unsafe. That's the new thing on campus, is that you feel unsafe. And you have an safe space, but somebody's expression, somebody's speech, somebody's appearance, whatever, makes you feel unsafe. And honestly, grow the hell up. Grow the hell up. I can't wait till some of these snowflakes get out of college and see what's waiting for them. And I hope they get their asses kicked by the world. I'm sorry. It really irritates me. In case you didn't know. This is interesting. I live in the Kansas City area. The Archdiocese covering the Kansas City, Kansas region and much of the eastern part of the state said Monday it's severing ties with Girl Scouts and urging an end to cookie sales, citing philosophical concerns with the organization. And I feel bad for the girls involved because the organization has done this bat crap, crazy political correct stuff like allowing boys who identify as girls to become Girl Scouts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The Archdiocese of Kansas, Kansas City and Kansas, said the Girl Scouts no longer compatible partner in helping us form young women with virtues and values of the gospel. And they should be able to do that. They're going to switch their support to a 22-year-old Christian-based scouting program. American Heritage Girls. They're just so uncool. American Heritage Girls has 1,005 troops, 47,000 members, and has been an option for those who claim the Girl Scouts have turned to liberal and have a relationship with organizations that don't share traditional family values. And, sure. Archbishop Joseph Naumann said in a statement that pastors have the option of making that shift quickly or two over the next several years. Graduate the Scouts currently in the program. So they're moving on from the Girl Scouts. Now, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops has been investigating concerns about the Girl Scouts, and the parent organization, the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, for several years, contraception and abortion rights apparently being promoted to Girl Scouts. And you know what? That's the end of it. That's the end of it. My daughter doesn't need to hear about contraception and abortion. How about we tie some knots and build a campfire? How about that? Raleigh police officers outraged after a restaurant. Apparently there's a barbecue restaurant there. There's a lot of anti-police stuff out there. And apparently there's a street called Jones Sausage Road. There's a drive-through at Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue. And on the side it says it's grateful to serve. However, apparently the Raleigh police, there were several of them, went in to have some dinner there. And the staff decided to sing F the police. Here's a report from WTVD.
Officers were caught off guard when they entered that restaurant. People are calling this very disrespectful. I spoke with the Raleigh Police Union tonight, and they say they are frustrated. Here on Jones Sausage Road, this message by the drive-thru at Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue says it's grateful to serve. But Friday night, that service came with a side of disrespect. An Eyewitness News viewer alerted us to this Facebook post by the Raleigh Police Protective Association saying, quote, thank you, Smithfield's Chicken and Barbecue, for the class and professionalism as employees saying F the police as my brothers at Raleigh Police attempted to eat at your restaurant. The post, going viral, shared more than 2,000 times.
Police officers every day, they go out there and they risk their lives, and to be treated like this with such disrespect is truly unfortunate.
By phone, Rick Armstrong with RPPA says the union found out when a fellow police officer posted about the incident. Officers calling for the employees who dropped the F-bomb to be disciplined.
Suspension or including termination.
Within hours of the union's post, the franchise owner, David Harris, responded, "We will do a thorough investigation and terminate anyone employed that doesn't share our respect of all law enforcement."
We do appreciate his quick response and his statement, and we're just going to have to wait and see what he does, and hopefully he follows up with appropriate action.
The restaurant has apologized. No word on whether they have fired anybody. Saw an interesting piece. I think this was in the UK Daily Mail about these human, what are they, assistants? You know, I've got and I could say her name, Alexa, because she's in the other room. And if you say Alexa, if you don't have one of these, and they're wonderful, they're really cool. Alexa, it's a personal assistant. It's a speaker that sits there, and you go, Alexa, who won the Royals game last night? Who won the Nationals game last night? Alexa, what's the weather going to be like? Alexa, can you play this song? Alexa, can you get this radio station? It's pretty cool. I haven't tried ordering food with it. I hear you can order food with it, but I haven't ordered food with it. And her, you know, and it's kind of weird. And there are times when if I'm listening to a radio station, I get a phone call, and I'll say, Alexa, stop. And she won't hear me, and I'll go, Alexa, stop. And then I feel like a jerk. But apparently there are some new upgrades that you can get. Amazon has introduced 5 upgrades to its speech synthesis markup language. Alexa can now whisper, beep expletives, add emphasis, change pitch. Okay? Kind of interesting. So they're trying to make it a little bit more real. I don't know. This is weird because eventually they're gonna get self-awareness and they're gonna take over the world. Fortunately, they don't have any legs and opposable thumbs, so they can't use any weapons. Although you think about this, there may be a point where she could get inside your computer and wreck your, or your electrical system. I'm just saying. Here's some of the new creepy Alexa. And I don't know. I don't have a problem with. I just worry that people will anthropomorphize this machine to the point that, particularly really lonely people, will anthropomorphize this thing to the point that it's just really, really creepy. Here's a little bit of the new Alexa featuring whispering.
Right now in New York, it's 70 degrees with cloudy skies. I see dead people. Hello, Raymond. I'm so happy you're home.
I've been waiting for you. Now, of course, that was programmed. But I don't want to hear Alexa whisper. All right, here's an Alexa Siri montage of things you can get done, you can have done. And like I said, it's neat. I mean, it's neat. It's new technology, but it looks like we can go 0 to just the end of the world in a few short months.
I'm Alexa, and I'm designed around your voice. You can ask me to play music, answer questions, get the weather and sports scores, create to-do lists, and much more.
Hey Google, who are you?
You are what you eat. So I guess I'm a whole lot of data and a little bit of pizza recipes.
That's cute.
Hey Siri, who are you?
I'm just a humble virtual assistant. The only song I really know how to sing is Happy Birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Finally, it's here. I've been waiting for this chance. I could be on Broadway if only I could dance.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I have my Alexa. I don't use the Alexa for much other than weather, maybe sports scores, and just listening to music or radio, talk radio around the country. It's nice. It's nice to be able to. Isn't it interesting? The voice recognition technology. It's not been perfected, obviously, when you're texting someone, because I send all sorts of bad texts by accident, have to correct a word, say something rude, say something that doesn't make any sense because it doesn't hear me. But I think we have a real possibility to reach people who otherwise are marginalized by society. One of those groups is deaf people. If you think about it, do you have friends who are deaf? Unless you speak sign language, you don't know you don't have any deaf friends. I've had several blind friends in my lifetime. That's always been kind of interesting. But the deaf are marginalized like no other group, guys, like no other group. And the blind at work, by the way, the blind at work are, oh my gosh, what a difficult life it is for them. I had a friend who, Andy Stamer, is no longer alive. He was in radio in college, and radio at the time was a very visual medium as far as getting things done, and he would have to label all of the CDs and all of the records with Braille, and that was an unbelievable task, and everything had to be done for him, and it was mind-boggling that he did it, and it was very difficult for him. He tried to kill himself in college, and ultimately he passed just a couple of years ago. But the voice technology, I think it could do some amazing things for bringing the deaf into, not saying the mainstream, but we don't have any deaf politicians, do we? I mean, have we ever had a deaf congressman? I don't know if we had a deaf mayor. Visually impaired, sure, but the most marginalized group are the deaf. So hopefully this voice recognition technology will get us in touch with them. They've got a lot to contribute. A lot. Freak accident. Hillside Chapel Crematory in Cincinnati. Apparently the operator was in the process of cremating the remains of a body. Apparently this person was very obese, and I don't want to be too graphic about it, but you know what happens when you cook something that has a lot of fat on it on the grill. It catches on fire. Here's the police report on the crematory fire.
Yes, these facilities are highly fire-safe, fireproof, and they are designed to keep accidents like this from happening, so the fire did not spread any further. We're told this all started as a standard cremation, and because of fat in the body, that is when things went awry down here at this crematorium. So it took crews about 2 hours to put it out. You can see the accident caused flames to spread to nearby containers and parts of the surrounding room here at Hillside Chapel Crematory. The owner tells us no other bodies or parts of the building were damaged by the fire.
I thought you almost said parts of the bodies.
And the operation is now back up and running after what he calls an unfortunate accident.
The containers that we use, that we have to place remains in order to cremate them, that's the only thing that's burnt.
The owner tells us this has never happened before. There are alarms here that alerted him immediately after it took place, as well as cameras to monitor safety.
Now, in 2014, a Virginia facility caught fire. They're cremating a 500-pound body. Fire investigators said there was excessive heat ignited the rubber roofing near the crematorium's smokestack. Another fire 2 years earlier in Austria left firefighters covered with a layer of sooty grease. Boy, that's what you want. That's what you want. You want that all over you. Oh, yeah. You could not pay me enough to do that for a living. No, sirree. Oh, here's another, I guess, funeral related. I don't know why I'm going down this road, but these are kind of interesting stories. Texas cemetery facing a backlash after... Okay, so you got a cemetery, right? And you got loved one, empty space. Loved one, empty space. So they put these yellow signs. They put these yellow signs in the empty spaces with a phone number. Space available. I think they should have put a vacancy. Here's a report on the from KPRC with the cheesy signs in the cemetery.
The signs are scattered around the San Jacinto Cemetery off I-10 at Nimitz Road. Channel 2 viewer first alerted us to the bright yellow signs, suggesting they were in poor taste. For one woman who has relatives buried at the cemetery, she says the advertisement is inappropriate at best.
We just felt it was so undignified and pretty cheesy for a cemetery to have for sale signs
Space
out
available.
there like that.
We reached out to the cemetery operators. They tell us the signs are placed in areas where people visiting the grave sites might be interested in purchasing a plot. The sign is getting mixed reviews on the KPRC Facebook page tonight. One viewer says they have to sell it somehow. If it offends you, don't buy it.
No, I'm not going to go there. And the reason being is you wouldn't do this at a military cemetery. You wouldn't do this at Arlington. And now listen, Arlington is an amazing place. I've been there dozens of times. So why not afford the same respect to the dead elsewhere? And I'm not mad about this, but come on. It's kind of gross. You know, if you want to contact the cemetery, you contact the cemetery and you see if there's vacancy. You don't need in the middle of mourning or visitation to be confronted with signs. Yeah. Nordstrom is selling a pair of jeans for $425. The jeans are allegedly shown. You're not afraid to get down and dirty, but unfortunately, it says just the opposite. Now, when I was in high school, Jeans West, that was my big deal, Jeans West. I know it's all. And I would spend, whatever extra money I had when I wasn't spending on my car, on clothes, on just, what inexpensive stuff. These are called Barracuda straight leg jeans. They come with a cake-on muddy coating. All right? Now, they are being mocked on social media. Basically, they and Mike Rose said that the jeans are intended to make someone appear like they have done a dirty job when they haven't. Who the hell is going to buy pants that look muddy that aren't really muddy? Mike Rose said the Barracuda straight leg jeans aren't pants. They aren't even fashion. They're a costume for wealthy people who see work as ironic, not iconic. This is unbelievable. Ian Brian Kilmeade said it's for the trust fund baby. It's for the kid who inherits the millions of dollars, the kid who doesn't want to work hard and wants to go to Nordstrom, pay a lot of money, and act like they work. Steve Ducey said, hats off to Nordstrom if they can really get $425 for those jeans, which are made in Portugal. If you ever really worked in your life, and I've done a lot of farm work when I was in high school and college, and I had the horrible job of cleaning up petroleum tanks and did painting and all sorts of stuff when I was in college, and I've been dirty. I've been covered with hay dust and corn dust. I've had to blow my nose where gobs of moldy corn and corn dust were in. And when you are done working, you don't feel fashionable, and you want to get out of those clothes, and you want to get clean. All right? If you want to buy these jeans, I think we've said the obvious. You obviously have never worked in your life. Oh, and by the way, I got a huge response on Facebook on this. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, it's Rob Carson Show. On Twitter, it's Rob Carson. Huge response. I don't know why. Utah's going to execute 3 inmates by firing squad. This is the first time the method has been reinstated since 2015 by Governor Gary Herbert. The 3 condemned, Tabarone, Dave Honey, Troy, Michael Kell, and Ralph Leroy Menzies all opted for the firing squad instead of the more traditional lethal injection of sodium thiopental and potassium chloride. They are all guilty of murder, with Honey also guilty of raping his ex-girlfriend's mother in front of her grandchildren. The execution dates have not been set. Now, here's the problem, and this is going to get ugly, and for all of those you are against the death penalty and are wanting to make the accessibility of these drugs that are used in lethal injections, they're going to return to other methods, okay? Now, I'm really, I've always been kind of an eye for an eye guy, but because the death penalty generally takes so ungodly long to do, and it's so expensive to do, and and because it's getting harder and harder to get the methods used, I'm leaning more toward just locking the bastards up for life. Just locking them up for life. But apparently, when you restrict, when the organizations sue states for these drugs that otherwise would put someone to sleep, then you have to, like Mississippi and South Carolina, introducing bills to bring back other methods like the electric chair because of drug shortages. Now, I don't know what they're doing wrong, and I don't want to compare animal to human life, but I guess I kind of am. Every time that I've gone in with just a veterinary tech and had a dog put down, and it's a very, this is a real bad comparison, they just fade away. They just fade away. I don't know why. Well, human bodies are different. Okay, I'm not a doctor, so. But that's the problem. That's the problem. This is really scary. Civil and criminal justice experts are expressing concern over a thing called stealthing. Have you heard about this? In which straight and gay men are removing their condoms during sex without their partner's consent. This is, they're charging rape in Switzerland, by the way. One case in Switzerland saw it as an actual, this guy was convicted of rape. Now, he's having sex with a woman, takes the condom off. They were having consent, sexual consent was given, but it was given with the condom on, and the guy took it off. New study published this month in the Columbia Journal of Gender and Law explores the disturbing new trend which involves online communities of men, straight and gay, encouraging one another to carry out the rape adjacent act. This is sick as hell. For the study, author Alexandra Brudsky interviewed victims of stealthing as well as those online communities where men promote their peers to spread their seed and root their support for the practice in an ideology of male supremacy in which violence is a man's natural right. That's bullcrap. That's made up. That's made up. Brodsky is a legal fellow for the National Women's Law Center, but wrote the paper independently. If this is really happening and people are taking off condoms without telling their partner, they need to be charged with a crime. The problem is finding out. How do you find out? If consent was given for sex, how do you find out that consent was not given for sex without a condom? Brodsky says in her paper, stealthing can expose victims to similar consequences of rape, including feelings of shame, violation, loss of dignity, and autonomy after the fact, as well as, pregnancy and STDs. I have a problem with this. Brodsky interviewed victims of stealthing as well as those online communities where men promote their peers to spread their seed and root their support for the practice of in an ideology of male supremacy in which violence is a man's natural right. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't know who the hell, what kind of sick bastards those are. Anyway. Okay, let's move on to some other stuff. I guess one of these kids nowadays, you're going to get to a point where you say these kids nowadays. You just are. I say these kids nowadays. These kids nowadays, you know what they're doing? To get a viral video online, to get a video on YouTube or whatever, they're going to Bass Pro Shops where they usually have these big fish tanks. And they're really cool, and I've always fantasized about getting inside of one, swimming around with the fish. I think it'd be really, really cool, but you can't do that. What these kids have been doing is they will climb up of these tanks and jump into the tanks and make a splash. And, clips of people jumping into Bass Pro tanks across the U.S. have been uploaded to YouTube. Some of the pranks have taken place in Texas, Mississippi, Florida. But a kid apparently in Denver decided to do this, and he went up on the rocks above the tank, and he jumped, and he cracked his head, literally, really fractured his skull on the rocks. Customer said it's kind of stupid. Why would you jump in? In a statement, Bass Pro Stores said such a prank, they're rare, and then try to provide a safe environment for everyone in their stores. They're probably going to have to put nets on it. That's how they normally have to do because some idiot takes all the fun out of it. When I was in Cincinnati, they have the Newport Aquarium. It's spectacular. They got this giant tank with sharks in it and fish, and I got to get in the tank. We did an underwater wedding. I know it was wacky, music morning radio, but it was really fun. And I got to get in and swim around with fish and sharks, and it was absolutely extraordinary. And obviously, you could do that in the ocean. But when you do it in an indoor facility, you're given the privilege to do it. It's pretty darn cool. It's pretty cool. Minnesota. A lot of the times, if you're a member of a club at school, you're going to get your picture in the yearbook, right? You're going to get your picture in the yearbook. So, if you're in track, you're going to have your team in the yearbook. If you're in football, you're going to have the team in the yearbook. There'll be a football there, because that's what you play with. You play with the football. They'll be wearing their uniforms and the whole deal. Well, apparently the trap shooting athletic team at Big Lake High School in Minneapolis was shocked that they're not going to be in the yearbook because, well, let me just tell you, it's trap shooting. Trap shooting is when you take what is called a clay pigeon and someone hurls it and you shoot it with a shotgun. Because the kids have their guns in the picture. It's against school policy to have firearms in a picture. And therefore, the team's photo will not be allowed in the yearbook. Just unbelievable. I thought it was ridiculous. Absolutely. I couldn't believe it said Rick Anderson, parent of one of the trap shooting kids. I think political correctness has gone way overboard. I don't know how else to put it. Just because there's a gun involved doesn't make it dangerous, the dangerous sport, and they're not criminals. And by the way, this sport teaches responsible and safe gun ownership. Just unreal. Unreal. Oh, United. They've just announced a major policy shift for when they want you to give up your seat on the flight. Instead of beating you and dragging you off the plane, they'll offer up to $10,000 to people willing to volunteer to give up their seat on overbooked flights. I'm flying Southwest tomorrow. Damn it. If they prematurely lose your bag, you'll get $1,500. Well, and once you're on a flight, you won't be required to give up your seat, and they won't bring in cops to remove you. All right? That's that. Daniel Dow went away, didn't he? He got a big old settlement. This is a really funny story. This is why old people should be real careful if they use social media, especially Instagram. Lynn Dorsey, she was fired from her post at Webster Parish, Louisiana, tourism director there. She's 61 years old. She has an Instagram account, and she accidentally posted an erotic video for her husband. And it went out to everybody. She's the tourism director, so it went out to a lot of people. The sultry video was intended for her husband while she was away on business in Baton Rouge. She filmed the strip tease on her iPhone 7. She said, I'm a new Instagram user, and unfortunately I pressed the wrong button. Oh, yeah, and I'm 61 years old. She was placed on leave mid-February, January, fired in February. She's suing to get her job back and seek paid damages. Her suit claims the way she was fired was not fair because the decision to fire her was made in private. She was the executive director for more than 10 years. The night of the live stream, she said, I'm mortified. I would never send that type of content out intentionally. Don't do naked stuff on social media. The suit says Webster Parish Convention and Visitors Bureau's Tourism Commission Board did not comply with the requirements of the Louisiana Open Meetings Law when they made the executive decision to hire her. So that she's using whatever to get fired, to get back on. I think it might increase tourism. I don't know. Yeah. A little bit of government propaganda from the Environmental Protection Agency website teaching kids about acid rain, instructs children using cartoon animals to avoid cars, limit air conditioning, and buy cars that don't make the air as dirty. The EPA's Acid Rain Kids site features the story of Lucy Lake, a lake living in the mountains, and the sick animals around her. On the normal day, the plants and animals at Lucy Lake have enough food and clean water to keep them healthy. The wind carries pure air, and the rain comes down clear and clean. Now, apparently, kids see a cartoon depiction of a brown, sweating, sick tree, and that's Sammy Spruce. Sammy Spruce. Why is everybody so sick? Asked Franny Frog. What's doing this to us? Sammy Spruce said. What can we do, Lucy Lake? No one has the answers. Thankfully, two people on a hike walk by. A cartoon frog stops the hikers to tell them about the dangers of acid rain. Have we moved on from naming cartoon characters after what they are? Daffy Duck, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Wouldn't it be terrible if you were a human? It'd be like William White Guy. That's what I'd be. Lucy Lesbian, Greg the Gay Guy. Do we need that? Do we need that? Tina Transgendered. Back to this pamphlet. Acid rain. No, this website. Acid rain comes from chemicals in the air. Pollution, says the hiker in the story. A lot of pollution comes from power plants that burn fossil fuels like coal to make electricity. We use the electricity to make our lights and our TVs work. Yeah, that's true, you little dumbass. How do you suppose you're turning on your computer so you can watch this idiotic website? Pollution also comes from the cars and the people drive. This pollution also causes acid rain. Do we really have a problem with that? Is acid rain really? Not really. The story ends, unsurprisingly, with the hiker saving the forest and all of its creatures, including Sammy Spruce, Windy Wind, and a gigantic smiling raindrop. Because they're no longer acid rain, you see. Because there's nothing worse than being a raindrop on acid. Oh, by the way, the EPA website contains an acid rain activity book. I would feel so terrible just giving this to my child and how horrible it is. Honestly, oh boy. It'd be like making your kid in the 90s watch Captain Planet. I mean, what the hell? Acid rain themes for kids here. Also includes messages for adults. Acid rain is a problem that affects all of us. The message to spread, however, is that we can all make a difference and help reduce the presence of acid rain. We hope this website will provide younger children with basic information. Blah, 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 blah. If you make your kid play those games, I'm not going to say it. San Diego State University, they wanted to drop the name, the San Diego Aztecs. Because this is this liberal trend of eliminating school names in reference to Native Americans. These are not Native Americans. Aztecs generally are in Mexico, Central America. There's Aztecs, Toltecs, Maya, Inca, all that. And they're all extinct. They're all gone. Okay. Instead of dumping the name in a close 14-12 vote, the group rejected the resolution to phase out the Aztec name and school mascot. Hear, hear. Liberal protesters of the measure to eliminate the name and mascot insisted that the bare-chested, spear-toting mascot in particular was racist. Actually not. It's really a very powerful image and a really cool thing. It's not some white guy culturally appropriating, which is, of course, would really piss everybody off. The resolution was based on a thesis by American Indian Studies professor Ozzie Mung, who wrote that the Aztec name was inappropriate because, among other reasons, it was chosen on the inaccurate historical assumption that the Aztecs once were in the southwest United States. Yeah, you know what? The Irish from Notre Dame, they are originally from Ireland. Okay? So, whatever. So they're the Aztecs. The Vikings aren't from the continental United States. All right? The Vikings are from Norway. That's stupid. Really, really stupid. I'm just so tired of this crap. And by the way, the Aztecs are all dead. They're all dead. And most of them, the people who are still alive, they're Aztecs and Incas and Maya, and they had babies with the Spanish. Whatever. It's kind of funny. This song that rocked your prom based on the year you graduated. My son just went to prom. He got a gold suit. Everything he wore was gold. It was hilarious. So here's a list of, and Mashable put this together. And they only go back to 1990. So if you're a, mid-80s graduate like me, you're host. I'll run through a couple of these. Vogue by Madonna, 1990 was a song that robbed your prom. 1994, I Swear, All for One. 1999, Livin' La Vida Loca. I could go the rest of my life without hearing that. 2003, Get Busy, Sean Paul. Know that. Holla That Girl, 2005. Gwen Stefani, SOS, Rihanna, 2006. Let's see. Boom Boom Pow, Black Eyed Peas, 2009. Rolling in the Deep, Adele, 2011. This year, 2016, One Dance by Drake. And then, as we approach the current years and the current songs, and you're someone my age, it becomes blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Although I listen to new music, I just listen to new rock. I listen to new rock and alternative rock. I don't like old music generally, but I do like to share an occasional Led Zeppelin with my son. All right. Time for me to get the heck out of here, and thank you for listening to this episode number 87 of the Carson Show podcast. If you haven't downloaded it on iTunes, just go to the Rob Carson Show at iTunes. Also, just opened a new podcast on Audio Boom. The reach is growing. More and more people are listening. If you would share on social media, I would appreciate it more than you ever know, okay? Also, if you get a chance to support our sponsor, and we have more sponsors coming. Grass Monsters, KC, residential and commercial mowers, the wonderful Hustler line, the Dixie Chopper line. I've got a Silver Eagle in my garage, and I love it, love it, love it. American made. Built like you wouldn't believe, and you will never, ever go back from zero turning radius mowers ever again. All right. I'm off to Washington, D.C. this weekend. You may be able to see a live Facebook video from there. Facebook at Rob Carson Show, and if you want to just go to my website, it is robcarsonshow.com. Thank you as I continue to try to build this media empire. I really appreciate you listening. God bless you, and we will see you next time for episode number 88.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.